Good morning, everyone. I'm Laurie Baracco, and it's time for the Empower Hour in the online community, www.themysticalmoon.ning.com. And I would like to apologize for last week because last week time got away from me, and I am in the process of moving with my family, our family home. And so next thing you knew, I was driving in the car and I said, oh my goodness, it's 9:04 and it's Wednesday. I apologize, and I did see there were quite a few people in the online community, so I apologize again. Time got away from me. So here I am this week, and in the online community, themysticalmoon.ning.com, I invite you to send me or type in your questions if you have any in the main room chat. If you're watching in the Google Hangouts, please go to themysticalmoon.ning.com, fill out a profile, and I will grant you access into the online community. It's free to join, and that's where I'll be able to interact with you a little bit more easily rather than with the Google chat and go back and forth. It's just easier to do that as I am hosting, and I'm also the producer, the director, and all that fun stuff, and the psychic. So again, I welcome you. For those who haven't viewed my weekly predictions, please do check them out, because this week is an interesting type of week. And last night I hosted the Crystal Bowl meditation in the Fort Myers location, and it really did come up quite a bit of being in observation mode. It came up quite a bit for us to be more in observation mode of what's going on in our lives rather than lashing out at others and allowing those triggers to really push our buttons and cause us to say things and to do things that later on in hindsight that we have a lot of cleanup to do within ourselves and within our relationships. Don't forget that we project energy, and it's not that I'm saying that you shouldn't have your emotions and allow yourself to feel them. Yes, do feel them, embrace them, kind of check in. Why am I triggered? What's going on here? And have a little bit of that inner reflection, and then see what you take a look, and then make an assessment of what it is that you can do or should do to help you to move forward. I don't remember the first card I had from my predictions, but I also had Judgment reversed, and then I had the Devil. So it was a lot of sensitivity, a lot of critical type of energy being projected outwards and outwardly and inwardly. So just be a little bit mindful. And it could also mean that you may observe other people behaving inappropriately, misbehaving, lashing out, really grumpy, and in a really awkward place. So it's not just us, but it can also be them. All right, so that's a little bit of my spiel for this week. So this week I'll be talking about spirit guides, and this is a subject that so many people are interested in. We want to know about our spirit guides. We want to know who these helpers are and what their role is, and how do I recognize them, and how many do I have, and are they with me forever, and what are their roles, and can they help me solve everything, and what is their function, and how do I build a relationship with them? So this week I'm going to be discussing that topic, and it's one that I really was so excited about when I first started delving into metaphysics. And this is not that I'm not excited about this subject, but I wanted to know. I wanted to know who was around me, and I couldn't wait to validate their signs and their messages and to learn more about myself with this process. It was, for me, a way of exploring non-physical energy, non-physical helpers, rather than focus on mediumship. In the beginning, I felt more comfortable with, you know what, I want to work with my spirit guides, and I want to learn about them, and I want to learn how that I can psychically connect with them, to feel their energy, and there must be so much power that is with these beings. So It's a very interesting topic, and there's so much information about our spirit guides that we can learn about them, about ourselves, that they teach us, they show us about ourselves. And yeah, it for many people, they already have relationships with their spirit guides, and maybe they want to learn a little bit more about them or take that relationship to the next step. Or maybe you feel another guide is coming in. When you take a Reiki class, when you're attuned to Reiki, you do usually feel those Reiki guides come in a little bit more closely to your energy field, to your consciousness, to your being. And it's a really neat thing. And I'm going to get into the details here. And as usual with my teachings or with the information I share, sometimes I get ahead of myself, and then that information is repeated a little bit later in my handout. Okay, so we're going to talk about spirit guides, all about spirit guides. And I also do invite you to type in your questions in the main room chat in the mysticalmoon.ning.com. I see we have quite a few people watching in the Google Hangouts. And so I will be answering your psychic questions, but also if you have a question about one of your spirit guides, feel free to type in that question there. All right, www.themysticalmoon.ning, and I will go back and forth to make sure that that there aren't any new members that are wanting to watch. And it's good to see some of you who were here last week, and yeah, I had that little oopsie. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. All right, spirit guides. So what are spirit guides? Spirit guides are non-physical helpers that help keep us on track with our soul's purpose. And I found that most of us have had past life experiences with our spirit guides. As you learn more about your spirit guide, or spirit guides, the more you're going to learn about your own soul's past experience. So from what I have worked with them, for myself personally, as with clients, with a lot of clients, and through teachings, that these spirit guides usually, they always have a soul agreement with us, and they maybe that experience is to clear up karma from another lifetime. Maybe we have traveled with them. That's what I have found, is we have traveled with them before in different lifetimes. So if you're seeing, say, an old German woman, then chances are you had a lifetime with her where there was interaction in Germany, and you may have been a friend, you may have been a son, a daughter to this spirit guide. And so it's for me, it's fascinating. I find the subject absolutely fascinating when I learn more about these spirit guides for myself and for other people as well. Okay, so most people have at least 4 or 5 main spirit guides. There are many, many more that work with us for shorter periods of time, depending upon what challenges we're going through at the time. So what I have come to find is that there are different types of guides, and what their functions are for us as well, and what they do for us and with us, and how they assist us. And I did want to say something that that many people may not realize, and that is that just because you feel a spiritual energy around you, assisting you, working with you, it doesn't mean that they are wiser or have more wisdom than you do. So I'm going to encourage you to build a trusting relationship with these beings, or not, right? So you might get to work with these beings in meditation and hear some of the guidance that's coming through, and you might need to say to yourself and check in and say, that doesn't quite resonate with me. I may need to look at that a little bit more deeply, because that feels a little off, or you might say, wow, that's pretty profound information. I want to sit with that a little bit more so. So in a nutshell, what's my advice? My advice is to not just trust and follow the advice or the guidance of anything, anyone, any being in the physical, non-physical, without doing some research and building a trusting relationship Okay, now, yes, there have been times when people have heard a voice or felt or received a thought process, excuse me, a thought form, and it saved your life, or it was exactly what you needed at that moment. I don't want you to say, oh my gosh, I don't know this being, and oh no, what should I do? Use your discernment, but don't just, please, do not just go with take the advice with it being physical, non-physical, that is telling you what to do, or that you do not know who they are. And yes, you can ask, who are you? What's your name? What's your function? What's your role? And yes, there are some guides that do not have a higher consciousness than you do, even in the physical. Just because they're non-physical doesn't mean that they have a higher consciousness. And I'm going to keep drilling this point, bring this point home for many of you, because for a lot of people, they may have not heard it. And I want to remind you, just because an entity, a being, a guide is non-physical, a crossover loved one is non-physical, it doesn't mean that they're wiser, have a higher consciousness than you do. Okay, so build those relationships with your guides, with non-physical beings, with your helpers. Okay, it takes time. All right. And yes, there are some guides that come in for very short periods of time, that their role is to help you through a difficult time, whether it's a career change, a life change, a health crisis. There are sometimes guides that come in during these very tricky and stressful times, and then they step back. And then they may come in again, and then maybe there are some guides that are in your life just for a short period of time. And there are different types of guides. There's your life guide, and your life guide is with you at all times. He or she comes in when you are both, and is with you all of your life. He or she comes in with you and is with you for most of your life. And so this is the one that is probably like an all-purpose guide, I would say. This guide comes in and you feel their presence almost like a best friend, and they continue to work with you. You have a protector guide. The protector guide keeps you safe and keeps you out of harm's way. Protector guide is an excellent ally to call upon if you're feeling uneasy about a situation, place, or person. And I will be leading you through a meditation in just a little bit to help you connect or reconnect, or to meet up with your life guide and your spirit guide. Excuse me, your life guide and your protector guide. We also have helper guides, and these guides help us to find solutions to everyday problems, parking spots, lost items, the right person for certain situations. Your joy guides help keep your hearts light and joyful, and they really do bring in humor at times when you are feeling a little out of sorts, when a lot is going on. To help lighten the vibration, lighten the mood. And you know, even when things are difficult, it does help to shift that energy with a little bit of laughter, a lightheartedness, to help us move through things. Okay, so a joy guide is going to bring it in, it's going to shift it all for us. Okay, moving forward. See, sorry. Ask and you shall receive. Ask your guides for signs of validation for their name and how they will communicate with you. Some guides come through meditation, dreams, automatic writing, and when you are consumed with an activity such as painting, exercising, and or spending outside time in nature. Most signs of validation are given to us within a week of requesting them. So if I say, okay, I'm feeling that this is my life guide, I'm going to ask for the sign to be this, or I'm going to ask for that sign. And usually you do receive those signs within that time period. Okay, so some signs that your guides are around. You may see certain number sequences, songs on the radio, certain aromas and fragrances, buzzing or ringing in your ear, hearing your name whispered, voices in your head in a good way. You may hear those voices like, hey, here's some guidance, here's a message. You may hear that as well. And after you start recognizing or creating that relationship with your guides and recognizing the signs, that is kind of how it will be for you. So say there's a certain song on the radio, oh, the spirit guide is that, you know, my spirit guide, Michael, is with me. That, okay, let me just kind of be a little bit more observant. And they do like to validate that they're with us. And that's really for our human side, to help validate that we're not alone, that we're not abandoned, and that we can trust these messages. Because let's face it, you know, we could think we're making things up and, oh, am I making that happen, or am I creating that, or is that just a projection of what I am feeling and or seeing? So it does help us. And again, they're more than happy to help us with that. All right, moving forward. Oh, I did cover this before, but are all guides of higher consciousness? Not necessarily. The only true way to trust them is to first get to know them by having the higher self filter in place and take your time developing a relationship with them slowly. So in the past, I've spoken about higher self. Your higher self is the more expanded part of you that helps shifting that energy, that helps as like a gatekeeper, so that not just any energy when you're open psychically and in meditation, sometimes it's a really deep meditation, to just allow any old information, energy, influence to come into our personal space. So the higher self is going to help us. So it doesn't mean that the information is not as clear or valid or strong. It's there. Okay, it's coming through the higher self filter. Now, there are some crystals that by holding them and working with them, that they can help you be in alignment and tune in a little bit more so to your spirit guides. So what can you do with these crystals? You can hold them, you can wear them, you can put them on different parts of the body. You can put them in a room to hold that vibration, to put you in alignment with that energy. You could even put these crystals and charge them up, charging them up by telling them by sending the energy into them, charging them up with your energy to help you connect. You're going to help me, like say, here's your crystal. You're going to help me, please help me connect with my spirit guides in a way that the messages are clean, clear, and where I feel very comfortable with them. Okay, so some of these crystals are sodalite, angelite, petersite, amethyst, moonstone, and lapis lazuli. Yes, there are other crystals that will help us, but these are just a few of them. There are some oils, aromatherapy, that will help us connect or be in alignment with our spirit guides. And these oils and these crystals, and also incense, it raises our vibration. It helps us be open more psychically to receive this information. There's wormwood, lavender, these are the oils, oils, herbs, and or incense. Wormwood, lavender, patchouli, frankincense, myrrh, a spirit guide blend, and or spearmint. Now, as I was saying that, my guides also showed me teas. There are certain teas that when you drink them, they will help raise your vibration and open you up for spirit communication. All right, so before we move forward, I wanted to see if anybody had any questions here in the online community in regards to your spirit guides, because we're going to get ready for a meditation in just a little bit. If you have any questions, go to the main room chat here and type your question here, please. That's why I wrote a little something, so you'll see it to the left. If you have your screen up and you see members online to the right next to that, there is a box that says main room, and that's where you would type in your question. For those watching on the YouTube page, go to www.themysticalmoon.ning.com to be able to fill out your profile so that you can watch us here and interact with the chat. Okay, give me a second. Also, you can type in your question about your psychic question and or your question about spirit guides if you have any questions. Alrighty, so moving forward. I'm going to give you a second to get comfortable, and I'm going to lead you through a meditation to meet your life guide and your protector guide. Okay, if you can, turn off your phone, turn up the volume here, and here we go. So I'd like for you to take a few moments to breathe in deeply. And as you do, inhale healthy, light-filled energy and exhale what no longer serves you. Take another deep breath in with light, healing energy, and exhale. One more deep breath to bring in light, center you, and ground you. And now I'd like for you to keep your eyes closed and to take out your worry box. Your worry box will hold your concerns in this moment so that you are able to relax and to enjoy this meditation. And take that worry box and kind of scoot it behind you. And now I want you to see yourself outside in a forest where there are tall trees and there's plenty of grass. And the smell of the forest is relaxing and calming as you continue along this well-worn path. The path leads you to a structure in the distance. Make a mental note of what the structure looks like, the textures, the colors, the feel of it as you walk up to it. Step up to the door. Is it a solid color? Is there a handle? There is a lock on the outside, and be sure to take the key from underneath the mat and use it to open this door. Step inside and take a look around. Make a complete circle as you do. Are there any furnishings? Is there carpet? Or is it a wood floor or tile? Is there anything on the walls? In the distance, you see an altar set up against the wall. Step up to it. Is there anything on this altar? I invite you to come back here frequently for clarity or for guidance and healing. Your sanctuary will change as time goes on. Changes in it represent changes within you. To the right, you see a table with a screen on it. Go to the table now and have a seat. As you push the large round button to the right on the screen, it turns on like a TV screen. Push it again and it turns off. We now have the intention to meet your life master guide and your protector guide, but we will meet them one at a time. First, we're going to meet your protector guide. Turn on the screen, and as it warms up, you see the image of your protector guide. They begin to talk to you, sharing their name and how they help you, and what you can do to connect with them at a deeper level in the future. Take time to listen now. And now it is time to say goodbye to your protector guide, and you'll be able to meet with them again. So please turn off the screen and be sure to thank them first. We will now meet our life master guide. Turn on the screen again, and as the screen turns on, the image of your master guide appears, and they will share their name as well as how they are here to serve you and how you may connect with them more in the future. And now it is time to turn off the screen. Be sure to thank them first. And now take a look around at your sanctuary and see if anything has changed. Remember, changes in it reflect the changes within you. Step outside and begin walking down the path again, and as you pass through the forest, you slowly come back to regular waking consciousness. All right. So please do share in the chat, in the online community, any questions or your experience. Were you surprised? Were they familiar? What were their signs? Have you already been receiving these signs? I'd like to hear about your experience with your spirit guides. So as people possibly are typing in their response, remember, your spirit guides are not the answer to all of your problems. They cannot interfere with your free will. They are here to guide you, to help you. That's their assignment. And they learn as you learn. As you grow, they grow. As you evolve, they evolve as well. And it's very interesting, the fact that we possibly and most likely have been spirit guides to other people and other experiences, life experiences, past life experiences, soul journeys. So we have guides and we have been guides. How interesting is that, right? And some of us may say, oh no, I feel really sorry for the person that I'm helping. I feel so bad for the person that I'm the spirit guide. What a responsibility. And there are some really good books on the subject. One of them that I highly recommend is Oversoul 7 by Jane Roberts. That book does share a lot of information. It's usually a trilogy, 3 parts. And with Jane Roberts' work, you definitely want to take your time reading her books and allowing the information to kind of digest and to sit with you quite a bit, because it does validate a lot of information. She has higher teachings. What I mean by that is they're more esoteric, and it takes a while for us to really understand what the information is, and the information that she shares has a consciousness of itself as well. So I recommend that book if you want to learn more about past lives, spirit guides, the evolutionary process and all of that, and how we grow, they grow. As we work through some situations, they're able to do so as well. Oh, there's another fact or a little tidbit that I meant to mention, and it has to do with crossover loved ones. A lot of times, a crossover loved one will become a spirit guide, but that is not always the case. And I see this in readings sometimes. They'll say, I'm with you. I'm not your spirit guide or a spirit guide, but I'm with you. And sometimes I do hear, well, now that I've crossed over, I'm going to be with you as a spirit guide. And so I would rather people not get caught up in the terms as much, because then, is it a spirit guide? Are they helping us? So on and so forth. A spirit guide is a non-physical entity that's helping with you with your life. Some spirit guides we have known in this lifetime, and some we have not. Some we have known in other lifetimes. So try not to get too caught up in the whole process of all of this, okay? All right, so I do see some questions here. All right, so there's a question in regards to spirit guides. How do I know if it's just my imagination and not my real spirit guide? It's a good question. That's where the science, that's where we ask for the science to come through, right? So if you are seeing a woman, right? I think I mentioned a German woman earlier. So you're seeing an older German woman, and you keep seeing her in meditation and feeling her presence. And so you can ask, okay, if you are my spirit guide, then if you're one of my spirit guides, please show me, I don't know, a wooden ladle, right? I'm just saying wooden ladle. And so then within the next week or so, you should see a wooden ladle. And then you can start to build that relationship. And remember what I said about this. I suggested that you don't just trust everything that your spirit guides are saying to you. Just because they're non-physical doesn't mean that they have all the information. I always want people to use discernment when working with any helper, non-physical entity. And over time, you will be able to build a trusting relationship. But a lot of times when we're developing our intuition, the information, the vibration, the visions, the messages, we may second guess them. That's part of the process of developing your own intuition and knowing what your signs are. The more you work on yourself and know what is you, the more you will know what is from you and of you and what is not. It's just a matter of time. And you know, I would probably say it's not your imagination. It's your psychic abilities and psychic senses that are beginning to develop. So I hope that makes sense for you, Christine. All right, more questions, please, in the chat. So if you have a question, please type it in the main room chat, whether it's about spirit guides or psychic information or psychic question. All right, so in the meantime, I do have a question that I'm going to answer that I received in the email portion here. So today's question, I am going to read it out loud. My question today is about my work job. I've been running my yoga business for about 4 years. While I still enjoy teaching, I feel a bit exhausted of traveling from class to class in different locations all over the city. And my stress levels have been too high recently. Plus, the summer here Plus, since the summer, there's a strong desire to expand my focus, but I'm not sure in what direction. I do some unpaid writing for a lifestyle magazine and a yoga travel site, both online, which I enjoy a lot, and it gives me flexibility in my work, but it doesn't pay my bills. Could that be a path to pursue, or is there something different for me in the cards? And thank you for your time. What I was feeling first off the bat, and I just got to have it validated with the cards, is that by going to all of these different locations, it's not only exhausting because you're traveling, but you're also in different places with different vibrations and different influences. So that can be a lot. And I'm not saying that they're bad energies. I'm just saying it's exhausting to go from here to there, to shift gears, and so on and so forth. And what I did hear from Spirit is for you to maybe look into maybe renting something, because, all right, so I'm getting ahead of myself, because what's happening here is you're kind of chasing it instead of allowing yourself to ground and allow it to find you. Like, you need to plant your roots. That's what the message was. You need to plant your roots. I do believe you enjoy teaching yoga. It's just exhausting to go from here to there. And what, you know, you think about setting up camp. Okay, let me bring all my stuff, go here, set the space, get ready for everybody, and adjust. But if you find your roots and plant yourself, then you'll notice that the manifestations are going to flow a little bit easier. So whether it's renting a room, sharing a space with someone, I would look to try to shift it into a one place. And there may be the fear that, oh no, what will people follow me? What's going to happen? You know, that's the way I need to find the money. Well, it's a matter of shifting your perspective, knowing your worth, grounding yourself, and become a beacon in one place and kind of settle in there. You know, there are a lot of people that do that. You know, I know someone who was doing a lot of in-home massage, and she was going here and there. And then she says, you know, and then I have an office. So this is exhausting, going here, there, and the time, the money, the gas, the inconvenience, because it's kind of split me up all over the place. I'm going to encourage you to plant yourself in one spot. Okay, and as for the online resources, I would really encourage you to come up with your own blog. I do think you're getting a lot of exposure from the other blogs. But what I would encourage you to do is, if you can, if you're allowed, and I would look into the agreements you have with them, create your own blog and or your own Facebook page, like your own online presence, and take that information and put it into your own resource as well. So like sharing it into a couple of places. Okay, so I think that that would be a really good way of getting more exposure. And as I said, I felt like the writing it may take up a lot of your time, but it would benefit you to be able to share it into your own place, your own resources. So I think you're on the right track. I think it's just better for you to find a place to kind of have your own home base. Okay, and that's kind of what they showed me too with the cards as well. All right, so another question. Good morning, Melissa. My question is having desires to move forward with my spiritual-based business, but I also need to make a living. What do you see? You know, it can be a little bit of a challenge to try to start something fresh and to make that huge leap of faith. So what I'm going to encourage you to do is to continue to have to work at your spiritually based business, but to still have your practical 9-to-5 or however it is that you receive your income, and create that bridge. I know a lot of people say, I just need to make that leap of faith. Well, that's a lot of pressure if you don't already have something going, because sometimes it takes a little while to build that clientele, as with anything, whether it's a hairdresser, a doctor, it takes a while to build that practice. And so what Spirit's also showing me is that there's a little bit of doubt and fear, and there's a little bit of, I don't know if you're sharing with somebody else, but they're showing me somebody kind of manipulating you with your thoughts. And I don't mean it like they're controlling you, but I feel like somebody else's influence is causing you to second guess what you're doing, because you have the Magician, you have the Death card reverse, and you have the Fool reverse. So there is some doubt on your part, whether it's somebody else, you're going to somebody else for advice and you're bouncing ideas off of, and they're saying, hey, you shouldn't do it, that there's no security. I'm going to encourage you to create that security by having a bridge, and then maybe creating a timeline of, within the next 6 months, I would like to be able to maybe see, or if you're working with clients, 5 clients a week, and try to create that type of dynamic for yourself. And sometimes we share our information with others and they completely validate all of our fears. So I'm going to encourage you to keep going at it, to do what you're doing, to take your time, and maybe not share with as many people as you have been. Okay, so I hope that answered your question. And the timing of it, I think, is the timing of this, I said to put 6 months out there to have more clientele, or to get that going a little bit more. So I feel like that's a realistic type of goal for you. And I think that it's going to keep that ball rolling. And sometimes it's better to just ask signs for validation, okay? And yes, it's a negative thinking. It could be, people validating your fears, as I said. So I really do think your heart is in this, and I think that's why I think that you're passionate about this. So I would encourage you to kind of slowly make that transition, okay? Yeah, they're just saying to slowly make that transition. If you don't try to do this, you're going to have a lot of regret. Like, I wish I would have tried this. And it probably is going to look a lot different than what you thought in the whole process, okay? So go for it. Take your time. Okay. And good morning, Vanessa. I wish I could see all of your little faces, but I'm not able to. And you're welcome, Melissa. Okay. Vanessa says, lately I'm restless and unable to sleep as well. I'm waking almost every hour, every 2 hours, and wake up tired. What do you think the guides tell you? What you can do? I think that there's a lot on your mind, and I think you're, it feels like the night, like the nighttime, the night air, the night consciousness is very busy these days. So what they're showing me, all of the fear and the concern around the presidency and politics and leadership. There's a lot of restlessness that's going on these days. I'm going to bring up crystal bowls last night again. Last night also, one of the messages was to try to do 3 random acts of kindness in a week. And we're going to start to shift the consciousness of our planet, of our human race, and move from a place of fear and anxiety to a place of gratitude and appreciation. So I think you're picking up, Vanessa, on a lot of the static in the astral. Yeah, of the static in the astral. So what they're showing me is you have the 6 of Cups reversed, you have the 5 of Pentacles, and then you have the Temperance. Let me look. The Temperance was reversed. That you're trying to figure out what the next step is and how to do it. And what am I going to do and how's it going to look? And you're trying to map out a lot of things here for yourself. And the advice that I'm hearing is it's good to have an outline, a plan of what you would like to do next, but continue to be flexible because the path that you go down is not going to look like the one that you're having. And you're trying to, in a way, control it, right? Who doesn't want to, make sure that you have all your ducks in a row, everything's checked off, and I'm being prepared and doing everything. I'm going to give my move, for example. I've been moving for the last 3 weeks, and I want it done yesterday. But this process is slow going, and I have to trust the process because there's the free will of my family. There are the businesses. There are a lot of different things. So my goal was for it to look like this, and it's going to be all good. No, there are delays that I couldn't have seen, and in the process, I'm being shown to trust, and that's what I'm kind of seeing with you. It's like there are certain things that you're wanting to make sure that all of your bases are covered, and maybe some of them have to do with your physical health. It could have to do with finances and security and your physical world. You know what they're showing me? They're showing me also for you to do a really good smudging. Really good smudging. Get out a whole bunch of sage, let it smoke up quite a bit, open up a few windows and maybe a door and just smoke it out. That's what I'm hearing, is just smoke it out a little bit, and then not worry so much about what's going on in the future. I also think someone else that you may live with has a lot on their mind too. Because they're showing me, let's smoke it all out, because I feel like both of you are tapping into each other's thoughts and trying to map out things. Then we have the astral, which feels like it's a little wonky right now, as I said, with all the presidential political stuff and all of this fear that's going on. Random acts of kindness, and especially make sure that you're doing them for yourself as well. Okay, so I hope that answered that for you, Vanessa. All right, so I'm going to ask if there are any more questions. I see that I have a couple more people online. Any other questions? All right, my Google viewers, I hope you're enjoying this discussion this morning. And in the meantime, if anybody's typing in the area, we have a few things going on tonight. Candace is doing her channeling in the Fort Myers store. Friday night, Paulette's teaching candle magic in the Fort Myers store. Saturday, also in the Fort Myers store, we have the John of God healing bed. And Sunday in Bonita, we have a chakra class with Johnny Barnett, who is an astrologer and has an interesting take on all of this. So Vanessa says, thank you. You're welcome, Vanessa. Like I said, it just feels like that astral plane can use a bit of a smudging as well. So if I don't have any other questions, I'm just going to give you another second. I'll be back next Wednesday. I have a note on my calendar, and I'm not sure about the topic yet for next week. Maybe we'll talk about animal messages and animal signs. That seems like a good one. And you can always email me your question in the online community, www.themysticalmoon.ning.com, or sign in when I'm live and type in your question in the chat area. All right. Oh, one more. Melissa, I'm just going to ask you to go back and review the last part of this. Basically, it was just a recap of what you like within the next 6 months for you to keep trusting that process, to be passionate about, continue to be passionate about what you're doing. And if you don't try delving into the spiritual work, you'll kind of regret it. Okay, yeah, and yes, saging, good. That's right, Christine. I think a really good smudging is needed for all of us. And yes, open up the windows or a door crack and let that just let it go, like the song, let it go. All right, everybody. It's really great tuning in to see everybody here, and I hope you enjoyed this week, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Namaste. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you. And thank you on YouTube.